We were going to talk about something else tonight, seeing that the NASCAR world was just shocked by the news about Kyle Busch. We decided to scrap our plans, kind of go unscripted. Not that any of it's scripted, but we usually have notes and a subject that we want to talk about.
It just didn't feel right to talk about something else, I guess.
Yeah, so I think we'll just talk about that.
Okay, let's get into it.
Alrighty.
Well, last year we went to 7 races. We did 7 races last year. And that was a lot of fun.
We had a blast. It was probably the most fun we've had as a family. We couldn't afford it, but we made it work. And
Yeah.
we definitely did some turn and burns. We went all the way up to Bristol in one weekend, drove all the way up, went to the race, and drove all the way back to your dad's, and then back down. We did Martinsville. We did Daytona at the end of the year. And I think that's the one that we're kind of going to spin around on because it was raining at the beginning of Daytona. And our kids and our oldest stood out in the rain because Kyle Busch was going to be speaking on stage. Our oldest just sat there and waved and waved and waved, and he looked
in the pouring rain.
he looked like a goofball, but and then Kyle Busch waved back at him and just made his day.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a real bummer. 41 years old. Mm-hmm. And
it really puts into perspective, like, the value of life and how quickly it can just change.
yeah.
You know, and tonight when we tucked the kids into bed, we told them, you know, say your prayers and make sure you pray for the family, and really kind of emphasizing how quickly and precious life is.
Yeah, because it's not really about the sports. And one thing I want to say before we really get into it is we're not monetized or anything, so we don't get anything from talking about this, you know, as far as view counts or anything. The focus really is that they have 2 children.
Mm-hmm. Young children too.
And Brexton is the same age as one of our boys. And that little boy's going to wake up tomorrow in a world that is completely different.
Yeah.
And there's things that we go through in life that we think are difficult. There's things that we think are, you know, challenging. We get frustrated and things we don't like. And there's a, what is it, 11, 12?
Mm-hmm. Something. He just had a birthday.
Yeah. And he's going to wake up tomorrow and he's going to fight a battle that's harder than we're going through at this given time. And I know people have experienced, you know, things in life that are difficult, but it doesn't take away the magnitude of the situation that they're going to be going through here for the next couple of days. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what we really focused on because, yeah, we like NASCAR. We love the sport. And, you know, the joy of going, and we keep up with all the entertainment of it. Mm-hmm. But there's still people. It doesn't matter if you're rich, famous, or poor. Yeah. So, I know you follow Samantha Busch a lot, and you follow a lot of her stuff. So.
Yeah, I really enjoy her things because over the last, I don't know what, it's been about 2 years that you introduced me to NASCAR because you started watching it, and then, you know, where do I fit into that? And I really found a place with some of the drivers, but it's not as interesting as following their families as well, you know, the ones that have kids. And Kyle Busch's family, I'm not a huge fan of Kyle Busch necessarily. I have my favorite drivers, but I do follow on Facebook Samantha Busch and the things that she's been doing and the momentum that she's been gaining. And, you know, she posts things about her kids, and it makes them real people. Mm-hmm. When you see just the rawness of their life, and it's sad. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to think that, you know, we were just talking the other night about a woman's role in the home and to take care of her children, and she's been able to be there for her children and to support her children, and now her life is completely turned upside down. Mm. You know, like if we lost you like that, our lives would be upside down. And so it's just sad. It's sad to see.
And a lot of people watch through social media, and I think that's what a lot of the demographic is feeling right now is we've watched this, Braxton Bush grow up, and he's just getting into racing, and his dad's he was getting towards the end of his time in NASCAR, and you could see whatever fan you were, you could see his dedication as a father. And I think that's what we really started to tune in on was like, man, yeah, he's had a wild career. Yeah, he's been known for some pretty controversial things. But you can't deny the fact that when you watch the videos of him interacting with his family, the cameras go away. And that's where Dad comes out. And you could tell that he was present in his children's lives. And I think that's why when we just found out about an hour ago, like that's why you feel the sting, even though you don't know the person. Like we don't know them. We've never sat down and had dinner with them.
Right.
I mean, our oldest has waved to him, that's it. But to hear the news and just, we were sitting there planning up how to set the room up tonight and get the cameras ready. And it was just like a full stop immediately. And you feel that, and you feel that for a reason. I really do believe that you feel that for a reason is their life is going on simultaneously with what we're doing right now as we're sitting here recording a video. And it's utter devastation. And I think you tap into that's sad. That they're having to go through that. We asked our kids to pray tonight and just pray for their family. And I'm sure this weekend is going to probably be a pretty big tribute. It's going to be, we were just talking that probably a lot of logistical challenges with this weekend because it's Memorial Day weekend. And if you do follow NASCAR, and a lot of people that watch this, they may not follow NASCAR, but Memorial Day weekend, it's the Coke 600. It's the longest race of the year, but it's dedicated to fallen military members.
Each car will be dedicated to a fallen military member, and then they'll put the name of that individual on the car to honor the person.
So there'll probably be some logistical challenges with, they just lost an icon of the sport, but yet the weekend is about remembering the fallen.
Yeah, because at the beginning of the day today, the family had announced that he would not be driving this weekend in any of the races, and they had to find a replacement for him. Now that he's passed away, it'll be interesting to see how they navigate that. We don't idolize NASCAR. We don't idolize these people. But at the same time, when you become, I guess I'll just talk about it, invested into something, or you follow a person's story, and then you have developed emotions towards whatever that might be. When that happens, and then something tragic happens, you feel it. Versus if, we don't even follow basketball. If a basketball player died, we wouldn't feel that.
Yeah.
So how can we step away from this, and what can we teach the kids moving forward? And, what type of learning experiences do we get out of something like this as parents raising children?
With our oldest, he's got frustrations if he's just playing a game, he's frustrated, he can't beat it, and he's getting all upset. With our child, Caleb, who is struggling right now with school, and he gets so mad and frustrated, both of them tonight, I told Caleb specifically, you might get frustrated with your math, but there's a boy out there now he's going to wake up tomorrow morning and math is the last thing that's on his mind. And even as adults, we're going to wake up tomorrow and there's going to be the next thing. You just said in one of our previous videos, get it together, get going. And to say that, but then there's somebody else who's going through something completely different. They do still need that mindset of you gotta keep going, you gotta get it together. It's hard for a child to get that concept, and the kids like this, they like watching NASCAR just as much as we do. To put it in perspective for them, they say, oh, that's sad. But then as a parent to say, I know you have things that you're struggling with and things that make you mad and frustrated, your sister, your brothers. But to kind of personalize with them, I think at a young age, and to teach them that, hey, your struggle, somebody else out there has a worse struggle.
Always.
No matter what age you ever get to, there's somebody else out there that has a worse situation going on, and you need to bring yourself down a peg. You got to bring yourself back to reality that it's not that bad.
Well, I think some things are bad for the person, and I think that that's okay. It's okay for people to sit in what they feel is a really bad situation or a really bad emotion, but yet to know that it is bad, but there's something better to look forward to, whether it might be like healing from the moment, or finding peace in God, or just sitting in prayer, or like connecting with other people as well. Like there's always something positive to take from a tragedy.
Yeah.
And
I think you'll see that too. I think you'll see that.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they were faith-based, and you'd see them praying before each race. Mm-hmm. And the cool thing is with NASCAR that really drew us into, and even when we go to local tracks, is it's one of the sports that pray. Before every event, they always pray. And it's because it's a sport that is so dangerous, and you have to will yourself to the machine, and anything can go wrong. It's not like another sport where you twist an ankle, or there's more controllable aspects of other sports. But when you get into a machine, you have to rely on an entire team to make sure it's a safe ride.
Regardless, though, of if it's safe or, a less than safe sport, like basketball or anything, I think it's really cool that the Lord is honored at the beginning of every race. And a lot of drivers, too, when they do win, the first thing that they do is give glory to God for it, for their win. And I think that's really neat to see. And I enjoy taking the kids to those types of events. We've never really been the type of family that watches or follows sporting events, because I feel like it kind of starts to get into that idol territory that we tend to stay away from. One thing that I know I'll take from this, every now and then you have those refreshers in life that remind you how valuable your spouse is. It's nice to have those moments in life that remind you of how trivial some of the silly things are, like some of the arguments that we have. I mean, earlier today we had an argument, or yesterday we had a little, it wasn't an argument, but it was like a little tiff.
Yeah, bicker.
And the importance of coming back to each other very quickly. Yeah.
Because something like that can happen in an instant, and why waste a day being aggravated with each other? I mean, he was only 6 years older than me.
Yeah, you spend so much time. I would rather spend the time happy with you and making memories with you and the kids than bickering, and then look back on that time and wish, man, we should have spent more time being happy. And I think that can go, anybody can take that from this.
Yeah. And I know they did a lot too, and I'll make sure to put down in the description the link to their foundation. They do have a foundation that you can go and check out. And
she has a very, very strong story. I mean, their story is pretty powerful.
And I think it's because of the early parts of his career, people focused on different aspects, but then when they started opening up more on social media, it definitely was like, well, these are real people going through some real stuff. It doesn't matter how much fame and money you have. Right. Nobody's spared to those challenges in life.
Mm-hmm.
When we found out that he had passed away, it's a sport we watch, but at the same time I asked myself, like, why do I feel so hurt over this? You know? And you got to kind of really start thinking about that from a macro level, is like, yeah, it's a sport you watch. But what about the sport draws it into where it feels like you lost a family member? You know, like we talked about how they pray. We talked about how they give glory to God when they win. And everybody thinks NASCAR is like a bunch of drunken hillbillies all the time. And sometimes it is.
Sometimes they are.
There's a rowdy group that usually attends.
There's always, well, and the Bush was known as the rowdy nation, you know.
But for a sport to have such a grab on your, not just your heart, but your soul, you know, where you feel the pain with them, you know, when Biffle passed, you know, and they passed away in that plane crash. And it was another one. It was like, man. And then when Denny Hamlin lost his dad, and it was like, man, like, that's terrible. Like, you feel it so much. The sport has been good about making sure that the priorities are pointed to God, you know, giving glory to God. They always have a pastor come and pray over the race before every single race.
They even have a service on Sundays outside of the track. Joe Gibbs usually does the service. Yeah,
Joe Gibbs does the service. They have speakers. Even when I took the boys to the drag races in Vegas, they had a Sunday morning service tent.
Yeah.
And
because most of the big races happen on Sunday, and so it gives people that space to go and do what they want to do for their Sunday morning worship.
And a lot of people in that community get it because they came from backgrounds where their parents either had to bust everything to get them in a car. It's not a cheap sport, you know. And they came from a lot of them come from small beginnings. When you said the other night about being grateful for what you're given, they have to be grateful for it.
Yeah.
Because it can be taken away in a minute.
Oh, absolutely.
And
it was.
It was. And I mean, it wasn't in a race car, but
it'll be interesting to see what Brexton does and see how his racing career moves forward. Because he was kind of up and coming recently and doing some races with his dad, which is also really cool that he got to race with his dad.
Yeah, they did races together. And I think that's what makes it relatable, too, is that he's the age of a large majority of people's, he's in that middle age range, you know. You either have a 10-year-old or a 14-year-old, you're kind of in that middle age range.
Right. It was almost like they were going through like a passing of the torch or a passing of the baton type of moment in their family. And so it's unfortunate that it happened abruptly.
I think that's all we're going to really chat about tonight. Just keep the Bush family in your thoughts and prayers, and especially the little ones they have right now. There's a lot of media around the whole subject, but them kids are the ones that are really going to go through it here, and just pray for them. Thanks for watching.
See you guys around.